Hi, good morning. We're here with Amy from Hey Me. How you doing, Amy?
Good, thank you.
Good stuff. Thank you very much for joining us today. Really appreciate you being here. So if you could kick things off and just let us know a little bit more about who you are, what it is you do, how long you've been doing it for.
So I'm Amy Jeffs. I work as the founder and chief kind of communications lead at Hey Me. I've been in communications for about 20 years now, and we run a UK-based, fully remote, holistic communications team of experts. So we're completely agile. We don't have working hours, and we work completely kind of flexibly as well. We provide holistic end-to-end communications.
Fantastic. So I must ask, when you say we don't have working hours, how
Yes.
how do you how does that transpire into um, I suppose staff and servicing clients?
So it's an interesting concept. It was put together because at the beginning I needed to come out of kind of full-time work because I have quite a rare allergy that ends up as being a like kind of chronic fatigue condition. So I can't work sometimes.
Sure.
So I needed the flexibility to be able to work my hours when suited me, but still do a really good job. So as I recruited people, we just extended that to everybody else as well. It really helps in a creative industry because not everybody can write something at 9 o'clock in the morning. Then
Yeah.
some people are more creative at 11, 12 o'clock at night. So it works really well for creative juices and making sure people can do the job that they want to do. But it also helps for people with families, any kind of responsibility outside of the workplace or anything else they're interested in. So we've got people who volunteer a lot. We've got
Mhm.
students, things like that. They can continue doing something else in their life. It basically means, in essence, that you do your hours, but you do your hours when it suits you, as
Sure.
long as you're available for clients. And it means that we can service clients at every end of the day, really, in any way required, including kind of Australia and America, and being able to jump on the phone at 8, 9 o'clock at night, and it doesn't really affect us too much.
Excellent. So, um, do you do it on a project basis for, say, a staff member that they get their project completed and then they submit hours, or do they have a certain amount of hours and they just do it whenever they can within a week?
It depends. We tend to do a certain amount of hours a week,
Yeah.
and then they fit it in that week. If you're clever about it, you can probably get a week off nearly every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
If you're clever and you've done
Yeah.
everything that you need to do and delivered all the things you need to deliver, you could probably get away with that, I think.
That's brilliant. So I'm just asking the questions for anyone else that's watching that may feel that this could be a game changer for their business or how they look at things and kind of yeah that flexibility that a lot of people I'm sure really sort of crave these days and enjoy. So was that the spark for you getting into the business then? You mentioned there about having being in communications for a while and then having an allergy that made you think differently about how you can do work when you wanted to do work or when you needed to do work. Was that the kind of, I suppose, yeah, the
Oh, there's two parts to that. I'd run out of excuses
yeah.
to set up my own business, and an awful lot of people around me had told me that I'd run out of excuses, and it was time that I just kind of set up on my own. I'd worked in really boutique, small agencies, in-house, and big corporations as well.
Mhm.
Um, and it was kind of that grind. I'd reached kind of that point where it was a bit like dead man's shoes, waiting for the kind of head of comms to leave so that you could get into the next role and
Yeah.
that type of thing. So it was a little bit of I'd run out of excuses. And it was also I needed a rest.
Mhm.
I needed to stop. I needed to stop with the grind, and with the needing to be somewhere at certain times and like 8 till 7 or whatever it is, ends up being when you're in that environment. And I just needed to be in my own space and deliver, um, do the job I knew I could do, but in a way that I could do it to the best of my ability.
Great. So when did you start the business? How long has it been going?
I started as a freelancer 6.5 years ago.
Mhm.
We started employing people in the middle of COVID. So it was never meant to happen that way. I was never meant to employ people. It just kind of happened by accident.
So what's your business journey been like today since you
Um, Bit of a roller coaster, bit of up and down.
Mhm.
We've had we started off with freelancers, and myself being a freelancer, then we started employing freelancers on like a consultant basis, and then as things grew, we kind of employed them. It's been a lot to do with kind of family and children and things as well. So most of the people that work with me have had one or two children in the time they've worked with us. I'm about to go off on maternity leave with my second. So, and this
Mhm.
all happened in the same kind of 6.5 years, as well as a global pandemic, as well as lots of changes in like social, economic, political changes in the background as well, and funding and budget changes. So it's been interesting.
Interesting and roller coaster. So what does the future look like as far as you can see, and what are the challenges going ahead that may present opportunity as well?
The future can literally be anything. We are in a process or in a period of change at the moment. Obviously, I'm about to go off, so we're having different members of the team step into different positions and different sense of responsibility. But from a growth perspective, it's a challenging year this year, and it has been for the last kind of 6 months. We've got lots of changes politically in the background. We work with a lot of sectors that have like kind of government influence. So like the
Mhm.
rail industry, transport industry, manufacturing and construction, things like that get funding from elsewhere.
Yeah,
We also work with innovation companies and technology startups and things, and they are waiting for funding all the time. They're waiting for that next stage gate or that next investment. And very recently, over the last kind of 3 or 4 months, that period has been quite difficult for them.
sure.
And we're obviously get the knock-on effect of that as we go through. And I
Yeah.
don't think that'll settle for at least another 9 to 12 months, really.
Mhm. So a few challenges to navigate or um planning for. How do you plan for something like that?
With great difficulty. We have really good relationships with the people we do work with.
Mhm.
And obviously trying to do more of what we tell everybody else to do, I suppose. We're very quiet in the background usually. We're trying to kind of step out of our own comfort zones and get our own marketing and comms and new business strategies up and running and what have you.
Yeah.
Um, but also just looking at what we can do for people. We work a lot with enabling, like we're
Mhm.
trying to enable companies to be able to do things for themselves or not need us in a way. So
Yeah.
one of our biggest successes is getting somebody to the point they don't need us, which sounds a bit counterintuitive, but it really helps because then they'll pass it on to somebody else, and it means that we've done a good job for them. That we've helped them be more accessible and more engaging and reach their audiences, and that helps us further on.
Is that referrals? Is that what you sort of?
Yeah, that's kind
Yeah.
of referral effect, yeah. And it's the silent referrals that you forget about. It's that silent pipeline. So
Yeah.
we get calls from people that like 4 years down the line that
Yeah.
we might have known, or we've done something with previously, or 10 years ago. So Emma's my communications manager. She's based up in Glasgow. We work together in London, and we get calls from the team in London as well,
Yeah.
that we used to work with, and they've all gone on in different careers, and it comes as a surprise when they ring, but it's a really good kind of silent pipeline in the background.
I like that phrase, the silent pipeline. I've not heard that one before. Might steal that one. But yeah, you say it's really important in terms of your values and what you do at any point in time for the business. You never know when it's going to be coming back to you. So the silent pipeline, I'll take that. Thanks for that phrase.
I did borrow it from Grounded HR.
Yeah.
Caroline at Grounded HR. I nicked that off. I'll give her a little shout for that.
Well, I think everything that we do as sort of human beings is always learned or borrowed from something out, from somewhere or someone, something else. So we're all good. In terms of yourself then, and running a business and the experience that you've had since you started up 6.5 years ago, what would you say is your biggest lesson to date, if there's one that you can pick out?
Be joined or have people join you that have a similar ethos. So you need to find the right people.
Yeah.
And ours was all through opportunity. People became available um, through redundancy actually elsewhere, but
Mhm.
they have the same ethics and they have the same kind of work culture and things like that, and we're all aiming at the same thing.
Mhm.
So that's where, in a lot of ways, a flexible working environment could fall flat on its face. It really could. If you've got somebody who's only wanting to do the hours, wants to clock in, clock out, they're not really available to kind of chip in on everything else.
Mhm.
But if you've got someone that believes in what they're doing and they're really skilled, but they just haven't got the opportunity elsewhere because of whatever situation they're in, it means that they're going to put more into what you're doing as well.
Great.
So it's
Yeah,
just having a shared ethos across what we do.
fantastic. Yeah, that really resonates in terms of staff retention and finding the right people, as you say, for people buying in to do it because they want to do it, not just as a 9 to 5 clock in, clock out, and a benefit of
Absolutely.
working in. Yeah, that comes across. Awesome. Thank you for that share. So if you were to give some advice to someone just starting out in business, what would that be?
The first thing that I was ever told was get an accountant, which I would swear by.
Yeah.
Um, like things like that scare the living daylights out of me. But so I would always say get an accountant because they know what they're doing. Um, for us personally, obviously, we're a communications business. We help people find their message. So figure out what your business is and what you're trying to say.
Mhm.
Would be my second one, and that's obviously one that's really close to our hearts. But then the third thing that I always think, and you forget about it, and when you first go into business, you know nothing about it, is connect with your local council because they've got business support managers and things available. They've got funding available, they've got opportunities, they've got communities. It took me 9 months to realise that the council could help me.
Mhm.
And actually, like, it's a bit of a game changer because you've got somebody there that you can ask questions of straight away.
Sure.
And when you first start out, you don't have the funds to ask anybody else, really.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a valid resource that I'm not sure everyone utilizes, but yeah, it's definitely there. That's a good shout. Thank you. So what inspires you to do what you do, Amy? What's the reason you think you sort of get out of bed of a morning and do what you do?
Again, there's two different reasons. One is we're providing an environment for people who wouldn't necessarily have the opportunity to continue their careers in the same way to continue their careers.
Yeah.
I don't really like highlighting um new mums, but it kind of lends itself to a new mum because it's flexible,
Mhm.
it's mostly part-time, and it fits around your life. I mean, we'd more than welcome men to do the same thing, but we find that we get applications from women more than men.
Sure.
Um, so it's really kind of I'm providing something that maybe doesn't exist elsewhere for those people, and they're really skilled and expert people,
Mhm.
and they should be able to continue those careers. From a business perspective, what Hey Me does, like we really truly believe in storytelling and finding the message for businesses and being that translator. So not everybody can speak plain English, not everybody gets caught up in their own little language that their business or their sector speaks, and we like finding out what the story is in the background and letting people know what that is.
Fantastic. Love that. Thank you for that. So then lastly, in terms of any latest news about what you're up to in the future, I mean, I know it's a bit of a transition over the next few months with you being on maternity, or even it's just a case of sharing your website address so we can find out, or people watching can find out a little bit more about what you do. Feel free.
So we've our website is heyme, so .co.uk, which is HEYME. It is a play on my name, yes.
Mhm.
We've got a couple of online courses that make it really accessible for small businesses, or micro businesses or sole traders, and they all start at about £75. So that's really worth having a look at. And you can also get some kind of power hours with our team as well. So if you need a little bit of advice but you're not really sure,
Mhm.
you can get in touch and they'll have a good chat with you because it's comms is one of those things that's not really that accessible to kind of sole traders and the kind of micro SMEs. So we've tried to make that end available as well.
Yeah, it's a great idea. It's not something that you often think about or associate that it's the priority for a smaller business, smaller person, but it is pretty vital to get that clarity from the off.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thanks, Amy. It's an absolute pleasure talking with you. And thank you for being so open with all that you've shared. I wish you all the best for the future success of the business.
Thanks, Mike.